Sounds great. Thank you, Erica and Arian and Karen. Welcome. Our newest
Thanks.
partner, our newest partner. So excited. If the enthusiasm isn't coming through, I'm sure it will by the end of this chat that we have here. I really want to welcome the incredible group that we have here today, our shareholders who are making all of this possible. And we're really excited to give all of you some insight into the work that we're lucky enough to be doing with Steve Woz and Woz Ed and Karen Young, the CEO there. We have signed an exclusive partnership with Woz Ed, whereby we're the exclusive supplier of drones into the Woz Ed program, which you're all going to learn a ton about today and get really excited about. This is a significant deal for us. It's also a significant deal for the kids that we're servicing and the schools that we're servicing. We are also providing exclusively the services around the drones as well as the logistics. We're very fortunate and excited to be working with curriculum development as well, which is super passionate to all of us and a big part of our culture internally. We are going to be looking at having Woz Ed actively participate in the designing of many new drone designs and stuff, and we look forward to their and Steve's insight and involvement on that. And we're also going to be participating in their international innovation centers throughout the world, who are going to be rolling out this and other programs, and we'll be fulfilling all the drone components of those. And that's more to come on that, but it unbelievable what that's going to do for Draganfly. And so with all that said, what we do, and we're lucky enough to have a customer come on, our ethos at Draganfly is to try to really understand what we can do for that customer to make them uncompetable. How can anybody else who's in their space not have the opportunity to compete anymore because of the services that we're able to provide in our partnership? And so we're going through a discovery process with Woz Ed right now to help understand how we can provide and bring all of the talent that we have to the table in support of what they're doing. And I couldn't think of a better cause to do that for. We're joined today by Karen Young, who's the incredible CEO of Woz Ed and really the visionary that's driving such value to students and through STEM programs. And Karen, thank you for being here and welcome. And thanks for being our partner.
Thank you. We couldn't be. We're just as excited as you are, Cameron. So thanks for having me today.
I don't know. I get pretty excited, Karen. So
the whole team is buzzing over here.
To start off, Karen, can you tell us about Woz Ed? Can you tell us about the vision, and can you tell us what you do and why you're so successful at it?
You bet. I think we really exist because of some disconnects. And these were a couple of disconnects that Steve noticed within his own environment. And he has a lot more insight into one of the disconnects than most of us do. And you do as well with what you do, Cameron. But that disconnect was the tech company gurus that were constantly talking about the lack of an employment stream coming into them. They had more jobs than they could fill and were willing to pay very well for those jobs and provide ongoing training, because a worker in the tech economy is always in beta. And so it's not just the knowledge you get, it's the thinking ability that you provide and your commitment to continued learning. But at the same time, we all know, and Steve was seeing young people that were finishing their undergraduate degrees, in some cases with a lot of student loan debt, and not wanting to work in their area of major. So even after that commitment of time and money, they realized at the end of their first stage of their college career that that wasn't the choice that they should have made. So Steve has had a real passion and commitment for helping more children really understand before they start to make those decisions what they love and they're good at. Because if you love it and you're good at it, then you're going to excel and succeed in that area. So when we came into the fold as Woz Ed, we've been working in the STEM space. And since then, with the insights of the Woz, we've been really able to refine that. And what we do is start in kindergarten, building and nurturing computational literacy and a mindset, an engineering mindset, giving kids these hands-on projects where they can develop that, know by the time they finish 8th grade where they're probably headed with their career. And if it's in the tech sector, they can make good choices with their career and technical education electives at high school, graduate with an industry certification, a 107 license. They can have dual enrollment and have 2 years of college out of the way. And these kids have such a leg up on being able to be attractive to employers like Draganfly.
And so to be clear, this is a K-12 program that you guys run. And when students come out of this at the senior level, they've got a 107 pilot's license, they've got college credits, they've got career paths, we've got, people that are looking for, because we can't hire enough drone pilots, it's not going to be possible. And so I don't know if that really came through, and I really want people to understand that you've got high school kids that are coming out full pilot license on these things.
Yeah. And not only that, but with the skills all around to work effectively on a team. So if you think about, I'll do an example and then take that back to drones, but if you think about SpaceX and the successful launch and connection with the International Space Station, it took engineering to build those rockets. It took a lot of coding. It took data analysis to make sure that everything was working once they launched. It took artificial intelligence to feed that to the astronauts. It took robotics to link it to the International Space Station. Right now, Ingenuity on Mars is about to do what nothing but a drone could do. Cybersecurity is a big part of the drone industry. Coding is a big part, data analysis, and also with augmented and virtual reality, another one of our pathways, that incredible photography that allows you to put on a pair of goggles and visit a museum is obtained by a drone. So the way that these integrate together helps us produce not only drone pilots, and CompTIA reported that 90% of drone service providers can't find enough employees right now, and that's before this industry explodes. But it's drone pilots that can work on a team with those other professionals effectively and know a little bit about those areas because we represent all of them. The partnership with Draganfly is an unprecedented opportunity for us to be able to get your industry knowledge and insights into that kind of the kids that have already been sparked, they're already engaged, they're already looking at it, is really going to produce a high level of talent and opportunity for kids that may never have had an opportunity to explore even that career field without that.
The crazy parallel about what we're finding in our industry right now is our signature customers aren't coming to us for a drone, right? They're not coming to us for a peripheral or a product or to fly a mission. They're coming to us for a solution. So the people that we're actually hiring and the solutions that we're providing to our customers today are cybersecurity, health security, the coding, it's customer service, it's like logistics. It's the drone is so representative. It's quite frankly kind of like the computer was in the 80s. It's kind of like the flashpoint of where all of this stuff happens and comes together. But the entire ecosystem has to be in place in order for the computer to have any value. And that's exactly what we're finding. One of the reasons we're so excited about the programs that you guys are putting out. How many schools are you servicing right now? And how many schools do you what's your trajectory?
Well, sometimes it's easier to think about it because we work outside of schools as well. So we're working with over 500,000 kids right now. And drone has been, until the pandemic, drone was our #1 most popular pathway. It's difficult to do remotely. And so we're working on some solutions with that, with a simulator, but we had to kind of take a pause from expanding that very much. But now that schools are looking forward to opening again in person, to robust summer schools, guess what, Cameron? Drones are in demand again. And so it's, it went from being there and growing. And I think it's been intensified as I talk to these educators and they've seen how many of the challenges that we've faced during this last year could be solved by a gentler regulatory environment around drones. Boy, did they get it. And so even though it was our most popular pathway before, now it has even expanded as far as people's awareness of how many problems this could solve. And just with the press release going out, I can't tell you how much positive response we've had from our clients. In fact, people who had already ordered their drone kits, now they're calling me saying, are we going to get Draganfly? So there's definitely tremendous enthusiasm in the K-12 space around this partnership.
Yeah, I tell you, well, listen, Woz wanted a computer on every kid's desktop. Well, we want a Draganfly on every kid's desk as well.
Yeah. And it's just, your analogy, Cameron, is so true, because just like getting those computers into kids' hands, or at least into the schools, just sparked and revolutionized an industry as far as what could be done with them. Draganfly drones in the hands of kindergarten students are going to do exactly the same thing. And so I think we're sitting, this partnership and the enthusiasm around it is because we're sitting literally on a rocket right now in terms of the impact that this is going to have in building the industry and fueling it with the employment that's going to be necessary to keep it going.
You bring up an interesting point. So I've had a question that's come up. They're like, how do K through 12 deal with drones? Like, can you give us because they're going to have Draganfly drones. Now, obviously, it's not a full on, $30,000, dangerous bladed drone, but the how you guys have designed your program, the curriculum you already have in place, the thinking behind it, the additional features that we're going to be building with you and stuff. But can you give the people on the call a sense of what happens in the kindergarten classes with the drones, what they're like, how they operate, right? And then how we progress that, how you progress that, and how we're working with you to progress that up through the grade 12 drones.
Well, we make it easy. First of all, who doesn't want to fly a drone? When we have a demo day, the first thing the adults are looking at is the drone station. They all want to get their hands on it. So it's just something that if people haven't done, they want to do. So that takes care of the engagement factor right there. And then we make it easy. We make it really easy on the teacher. A teacher doesn't need to have ever had their hands on a drone before to be really successful implementing this program. And I think that's crucial. That piece is crucial. And then we also, our biggest strength that we bring to the partnership is understanding the reality of the classrooms, K through 12. And so we make sure that the lessons are appropriate to where the kid's thinking at that point. So example, in the K through 2 classrooms, we use a lot of principles of flight and aerodynamics. We just have one drone. We have styrofoam airplanes, so they understand the concept of lift and thrust and friction. We spend time on air because kindergarten kids, come on, they're not going to want to watch somebody else fly the drone.
Yeah.
They would just be wanting to get their hands on the drone, right? That would make it hard on the teacher. Once they get into 3rd through 5th grade, then we're putting in multiple drones. And the kids are doing things like blindfold activity because the drone requires a visual observer right now. So there's the kid who's piloting has a blindfold on. There's an obstacle course set up, and we provide everything, including the hula hoops and obstacles. And then there's somebody who's giving the drone pilot instructions. So they have to get used to taking the drone out of sight. They have to build something to carry cargo, design it themselves, and then successfully do a cargo mission. So they're starting to use some of the peripherals. When we get up to the middle school level, as you know, Cameron, when you have a drone pilot out in the field, they tend to harm them every once in a while. So in addition to building on their piloting skills and their understanding of the concepts of physics, their basic trigonometry concepts, we want them to know what's going to happen if the GPS goes out on a $7,000 or $10,000 drone. We want to know for them to have enough piloting skills to help handle it in that situation. But we also have them build a snap together drone. So they start to realize how a drone operates and some basic repair. By the time they get to the high school level, they build a racing drone from scratch. And so they're soldering, they're learning a lot about drone repair and mechanics. And they're also getting their hands on a drone that if they hadn't built it would probably be outside of the budget of a high school. So then their piloting skills get to go outside. They get to do some drone racing kinds of activities and get a lot more sophisticated with that particular piece. The next step then, and the 107 license prep is not very engaging, but we've got the kids so motivated that they're willing to get through that step to get their commercial drone pilot license. So to get them to study for the test prep to sit for the 107 isn't a challenge once they've done those things.
Yeah, it's incredible. And, I know we've talked and brainstormed about a bunch of ideas about, the students as they're building the drones that will actually be able to do it virtually inside of one of our factories as well. And instruction from the factory and engagement. And so, we're looking at not just creating drone pilots here, but really encouraging entrepreneurs and engineers and there's multiple positions inside of this industry at all kinds of levels other than just piloting. And I think what's incredible is that you're giving these kids skills across that whole STEM spectrum, which is amazing. So you're engaged right now with about 500,000 students, and I know your growth path it's incredible. It's unbelievable what you guys are doing, and one of the reasons we're so excited. But can you tell us, and I know this year we'll probably provide about 3,000 drones, and we certainly have expectations, all of us, that it's going much higher than that based on your success. But can you give us a couple of those success stories that you guys have had implementing drone programs into schools and what the effect has been?
Well, you know, some of the things that have been really incredible to see is like in areas in rural Florida, for example, we have drone programs that have been in place for 3 years, where we've had businesses that work heavily in agriculture and real estate, two of the primary industries in that particular state, that have stepped up and said, this is one of the most useful resources and activities that we've seen happening in a K-12 system as it applies to a vital industry for our state. And we're willing to provide foundation funds to grow this and to keep it going and to add it into other areas. So it's exciting for the kids, because imagine being a student in middle or high school that sees primary businesses come and say, we believe so much in what you're doing that they're going to fund it and put more drones in more kids' hands. So we've had that kind of success. We've had kids that already saw in ways that they could use their skills to even just bring joy into someone's day. We had some students in Tennessee who raised the money for, did all the work, put everything together, got it all packaged up, built a cargo component for it, and flew a Make-A-Wish Foundation gift in an auditorium to the student, to the girl that they had picked out of a trip to Disneyland. And they flew it in via drone. We've had some students who have done some incredible public service pieces for their schools that highlight and promote the school. And because they did this via drone photography, the school enrollment increased dramatically because these kids produced this video that got the word out of what they were learning. And in some cases, the next year, that school had a waiting list of parents that wanted to get their kids in primarily because of that program. We had another school in Florida that was on the verge of closure because of declining enrollment. They brought these opportunities in for the kids. And in 1 year, their enrollment increased by 120 students. And by the next year, it had doubled. So I think it tells us, Cameron, that this is the kind of thing that kids enjoy, that business will support, and that parents want.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's just so practical and so insightful. And I don't want to just have the drone thing. That's what we're talking about today. But overpower all the the rest of it. But the entire STEM spectrum that you guys are delivering, you're getting those similar results. Whether it's in the science or the engineering or all the different pathways that you have. And so again, just incredible. At the risk of a bit of a commercial here, can you give a sense of, and actually this is an honest question, because I don't know that I've really bluntly hit you with it before, but like why Draganfly? Why are you working with Draganfly?
Well, I would say there's several reasons. Number one, your industry reputation is incredible. Your quadcopters are incredible. The insights that you have that would be able to really improve and deepen the curriculum of what we could offer to these kids as we've had those conversations has been just a powerful opportunity, because we want authenticity. We want to produce kids that have the skills that employers are looking for. We want these to be the kids that are sought after, just like competing for Ivy League University. We want them to rise to the top. And we think Draganfly's expertise brings that to us. But also because of you and your team. I mean, you guys are fun to work with. You turn on a dime. We have come up with so many ideas in the last week. And I mean, the feedback from everybody here has been, it's just amazing. And we're going to get this done with some really incredible timelines. So honestly, Cameron, I think when you're trying to change the world, which we are, and trying to help support and lift up an entire industry that's about to just explode, you've got to have people that believe in that and are willing to roll up their sleeves and just get it done. And that has been the epitome of this partnership so far, is that willingness of two teams that think that way of coming together. And I think there's just nothing that's possible that we couldn't accomplish.
I totally agree. And to have the brain power that you guys have in your organization, and the cultural icon and Woz's involvement and your experience. And I mean, we're just, regardless of the economics, culturally, it's already had such an impact for us internally. And we really get to bring to the table, thanks to you, the ethos that we have of like, how do we make you uncompetable? How do we just do such how do we be of service to you that it's just like nobody, like it couldn't be done better, and you guys are just driving your mission. So it's incredible, and we thank you deeply for that opportunity. If there was one thing, look, we got we got 150 of our shareholders here, thousands more are going to be looking at this over the next couple of days. I'm not shy in asking them, how can we, as a shareholder base, how can we help you? So I know the stuff we're going to do internally. I have a sense of it. We're down that path. We're going to crush it. But how can our collective community help you?
Boy, that is a tough question.
Sorry, I totally am just springing that on you. I apologize.
I would say one thing is just helping to get the word out, Cameron. I mean, the more that we can have, I've been amazed by some of the people that have connected through social media in the last 3 days, knowing that we have this partnership going, saying, how do I get my child involved in this? I mean, I think the more that we can spread the word that two, strong industry leaders have come together to accomplish this for our kids, then the more opportunity that we're going to get this program out there. And so I think if folks know of, a school or a district that might be interested, a program that might be interested, because we also work with organizations like Boys and Girls Club, and getting this kind of curriculum into the hands of kids wherever they are. Businesses that might be interested, that have a need for these kinds of employment opportunities, that might be interested in helping to support schools in some way. But I think getting the word out of what Woz Ed and Draganfly are doing would be a huge benefit for this mission.
Okay, sounds great. That also just gave me a couple of ideas around where this needs to sit on our webpage and how we can, work to drive some additional traffic in your direction. And selfishly, that's good for us because that means us more drones going off our floor. So
that's right.
And even more importantly, it's more drones in the hands of kids who, totally from a capitalist standpoint, are going to be buying Draganfly drones as they become pilots, and moving forward. So
yeah, and Cameron, one thing about this is, I think right now there's almost like a public service mission that we can help to accomplish with getting that word out. And that is, if you look, of course, I live, eat, and breathe this, but K-12 schools right now are worried about what they're calling the missing students. And with remote learning, there is a staggering number of students that literally the school systems don't know where they are. And they're concerned about how many of those students are going to come back when they have an opportunity to come back into the schools. Schools now more than ever need the ability to announce something that's exciting, that's compelling, that's real world, and that's relevant. And our experience has been nothing draws kids to a school like a drone program. So it could be, a really important part in helping us get back to something like normal after what school kids have been through this last year.
Yeah, well, I agree that I think the number one mandate for the U.S. economy is getting our kids back in school, and it's got to be the priority. And we're working on that on several levels. And so to get to do this with you, and this really is a public service, and it does give kids the opportunity to work in school and out of school. I mean, these programs can work in many remote situations, which you guys have demonstrated. So yeah, we're on board, and we can't thank you enough, and look forward to ongoing and continuous updates. All right, on that note, I see that there was a number of questions that kind of came in through the chat and stuff. And we'll be sure that we'll answer every single one of them. I'm sure you and I are going to spend a ton of time together, but we'll make sure we'll put out updates as to what's happening. We'll show some success stories around some of the schools and the students that happen with this. But again, just from all of us, Karen, thanks for the opportunity. We'll make sure we do a great job servicing you and the students in particular.
Cameron, we know that and could not be more thrilled. I think, if we do an update on this 1 year from now, I think we will have exceeded every expectation you just put in front of your shareholders by a pretty significant percentage. I think this is literally just a match that was meant to be made. There's one question I noticed in the chat that was making me smile. There are a couple of people asking about Canada. I tell you what, Daryl's already lighting up our folks in Canada connections. That they just had a call just a few minutes ago, in fact. So I would say the answer is going to be a definitive yes.
Perfect. Karen, thank you for all your time. I know we've got some calls scheduled over the next couple of days, and we'll talk to you shortly. Thanks, everybody.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye. Appreciate it. Have a great day.